How do you take the most common desk used in setups all over the world and make it more unique? Okay, I can't just spoil the whole video right away. We need some lore. So this is the IKEA Alex drawer setup. I'm sure you have seen it everywhere. I myself have had the Alex drawer setups ever since I moved into this house 3 years ago. I even built one at my old job. It's just been a staple in the setup space for years. But ever since I created my hybrid PC/Mac desk setup, my Alex drawer setup has just been sitting here in the dark. So I thought, how could I make use of it again? How can I bring it back to life? So I've been seeing videos from people like Linus Tech Tips, Cam Shan, even Colt Kerwin, where they're using motorized standing desks and building something with even more purpose. I mean, Colt went next level and built a bed. And this whole idea actually stems down from a Bilibili creator in China named Yashi Does Not Work Overtime. But all of these people inspired me to combine one of the simplest desks you can possibly make and turn it into something way more complex. Here's my plan. I want to create a 3D printing workstation. I don't want to have them in this room anymore because I can't print things and record something at the same time because the printers are just too loud. So up top is where those 3D printers are going. We got the X1C and the A1. Then at the press of a button, the desk raises up along with a monitor to reveal a hidden gaming setup. Yes, I already have the hybrid work/gaming setup in here. It's nice, but I realized that when I sit here for hours editing or scripting, the last place I want to be to relax and play games is where I was just working. So yeah, we are separating work and gaming again. I know it's a first world problem, but I've got the room for it, so might as well. Now, the most important thing we need for this project is a good standing desk. I looked online to see what would be the perfect desk for a project like this. But then I realized that all the people that have inspired me to build this desk are using desks from FlexiSpot. So I hit them up and they actually agreed to send out their E7 Plus standing desk. So what makes this perfect for this project is the fact that it has 4 legs instead of 2. And since this is going to be holding 3D printers and those printers are going to be printing things, you don't want any sort of wobble. And having 4 legs is going to make this thing incredibly stable, which is super nice. And I have 2 3D printers already, but I'm probably going to have more in the future. So this has to be able to hold those 3D printers up because 3D printers are kind of heavy. Luckily, the E7 Plus has a static weight of 540 pounds, which is plenty. I mean, that is almost 4 of me. Oh, what's up, guys? And with an adjustable height from 2 feet to a little over 4 feet, we've got plenty of room for the workspace underneath. We're chilling. Compared to other standing desks, this is the tallest 4-legged model available. It provides excellent weight capacity, and it's just much more affordable compared to other brands out there. Like, if FlexiSpot never sent this to me, I probably would have bought one myself. They're also having Black Friday and Cyber Day sales where you can get up to 80% off and a chance to get 100% free orders. If you're interested in picking one up, I've got a code in the description you could use to save some money. Tell them Sedlom sent you, and yeah, thank you FlexiSpot for helping make this thing happen. I actually need to disassemble all of this now, so let's get it. Now, the reason for this is because I don't have the proper power tools for a project like this. Like, this is the only toolkit that I have, and it's missing some stuff. But I know somebody who has exactly what I need. My father. He's got his own workshop in his garage, a plethora of tools, and basically this is where the magic is gonna happen. He's pretty much self-taught when it comes to all this stuff. He's built my dining table, he's built my TV console, and he even showed me that he's working on his own desk pretty soon. Like, look at this 3D model of it. He also has his own spot for a 3D printer, which he doesn't have. Subtle foreshadowing right there. I also think this is a great opportunity for me to learn how to use tools like this, so let's consider this like a mini wood shop. Now, the first thing we need to do is choose the desk size. I've currently got an 8-foot butcher block, but realistically, I do not need that much space. So we're cutting 2 feet off, bringing it down to 6 feet, and that is still plenty of room. Now, the #1 rule for this project is that it has to look like the Alex drawer setup. Just 2 drawers and a tabletop. But this rule can actually be used to our advantage because with these cabinets, we can actually hide the legs of the FlexiSpot frame in them. So to do that, we do have to remove all of the drawers as well as the top piece. This does make the drawers totally obsolete, and I know that means that we're losing functionality, but to be honest, I was just throwing junk in there anyway that I didn't need, and I know it might not sound logical, but I'd rather have no drawers than drawers full of things that I don't actually need. Does that make sense? We also couldn't do this with the original feet that came with the standing desk because they were a little bit longer than the cabinet themselves, so we replaced the feet with a piece of wood that would be able to fit inside much better. But with the drawers gone, how are we still gonna get that Alex drawer look? Well, for this, all we have to do is disassemble the drawers, leaving us with just the front face. We can also take the old back piece of the cabinet and slide it to the front, leaving a small enough gap that can fit the drawer face. This is just a spray painted piece of cardboard, for example, but basically the plan is to paint the back piece black and nail on the front faces, which we'll get to later because we actually need to start working on the bottom tabletop. So one thing I don't want this desk to have is a gap between the two tabletops. Like I said before, the goal is to have the illusion that this looks like an Alex drawer setup when you first look at it. Now, lucky for me, Camshan's video is literally like a blueprint for a project like this and has the solution for this very specific problem. All I had to do was remove the front support bar, and by flipping the rear support bar over, the tabs can face outwards, giving us a little bit more room to utilize for more desk space. So big shout out to Cam's video for helping out with this project. If you're wanting to build something like this, I'd definitely go check that out because you'll probably learn a lot more than you will here. Now for the actual tabletop, we just glued some wood boards together. These are about 3/4 of an inch in thickness, and that's just basically because I didn't want the whole desk to look super chunky or clunky whenever everything is kind of close together. Now the difference between this bottom tabletop and the butcher block above is that we actually need to create cutouts on the bottom tabletop so the motors can pass through it and push the butcher block upwards. So while I was busy disassembling the drawers, my dad worked on creating these templates so we know exactly where we need to make these cutouts. And all we have to do next is make those cuts. This was my first time using a jigsaw and my cuts were not exactly the best, but I was still pretty proud of myself. Plus, there's nothing a little routing can't fix. So we got the bottom tabletop ready to go, but before we set it up, we went ahead and painted those cabinets black, and now we can nail those drawer faces from earlier onto it as well. And my gosh, it looks so good. It literally looks like nothing ever changed. So all we have to do now is secure this tabletop to the cabinets. And shout out to my dad for thinking of this idea. It's pretty genius. Since we removed the top of the cabinet earlier, we can actually reuse the same locking mechanism that IKEA uses to secure our new tabletop onto it. This was so satisfying. It felt like it was just another piece of IKEA furniture. Now with the bottom tabletop in place, we could slide the frame into the cabinets and finally give this thing a test run. Now at this point, I'm nervous. I'm really hoping those cutouts are accurate enough and those motors can pass through it, because if not, we have to repeat the entire process with a new board. And it freaking worked. My face might not seem like it, but I was stoked. It is all coming together so well. So now in theory, we can throw the butcher block on top and the motors will pass through the bottom tabletop, pushing that butcher block upwards. Now you're probably wondering what that board is on the back. So that board is what's going to be holding up our monitor. I'm also going to turn it into a pegboard so it can hold up tools and other gaming setup peripherals. And luckily, since the butcher block has more depth than the bottom tabletop, this creates a big enough gap for those items to actually pass through without hitting the bottom tabletop. But the only thing that doesn't have enough clearance is the actual monitor itself. So we did need to make one more additional cutout. At this point, we are so close to the finish line. We can now prep both tabletops to be finished by sanding and staining. And instead of an actual stain, I just applied an oil-based polyurethane onto both tabletops. It's the same thing I did with both desks in this office. While I let that dry, I went back home and I painted my wall white. Now, if you saw my office tour from a couple months ago, you might remember that I said that we're gonna be turning the room next door into an extension of this current office space. And part of that process is to paint the walls, which I was actually planning on doing that after this desk build, but I figured I'd at least paint this wall now so I don't have to move the desk later. It makes sense in my head, but if you wanna see the rest of this room transformation, definitely subscribe. I think it's worth it. Now, one of the last things I need to do is build the pegboard. This was such a tedious process. I mean, we all know what a pegboard is, right? It's basically just a rectangle with a bunch of holes in it. But building it from scratch kind of sucks. So I got this piece of plywood that's a little under 5 feet wide and 2 feet tall. And now I have to drill over 200 holes. And you know, I am not the best at this stuff. A lot of the holes that I drilled were terrible. But you know what? We embrace imperfection in this household. Now, thankfully, the monitor is going to cover up a good chunk of the center, so I don't actually have to drill holes over there. Otherwise, I would have had to drill over 300 holes, and we don't need all that. All that's left is a coat of polyurethane, and we're finally ready to pick up the rest of the desk, bring it back home, and assemble the entire thing. I am stoked. This was a lot more work than I had thought it was going to be. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but there were just a lot of small things that I didn't expect that we had to figure out along the way. But it was still a very fun project nonetheless. And this 100% would not have been possible without my dad. He was there for every hiccup we ran into along the way. He taught me a lot during this entire process. And like I mentioned earlier, since he's building his own desk, I thought I'd return the favor for his help and surprise him with something for his setup.
You're gonna record it? Ready?
Wait.
You wanna see if it'll fit your printer?
What?
This is your printer.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. For all the help you've given for this project, I got you a printer of your own. Yeah, go ahead. Send it down.
Of course, I have to thank you guys for all of your support. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do things like this without you. You guys allow this to be my job. I mean, I could say that spending time with my dad and building a desk is now part of my career, which is kind of insane to think about. And being able to surprise him with things like this is just, it's just like on a whole nother level.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not dressed up. Look at me.
Now, enough with the sentimental stuff, because the desk is pretty much complete.
So let's go there. Let's make our escape. Come on, let's go there. Let's ask and we stay. Can you take me higher to a place where blind man see? Can you take me higher to a place with golden trees?
There's some more things I still need to fix, and right now it's just hooked up to my Xbox Ally X, but we're gonna give this setup the PC it deserves and finally build a mini PC. So subscribe if you wanna see that.